Anyone that's been following WWE over the past couple of years and has had a decent internet connection would have seen the recent diss track dropped by Enzo Amore. The former WWE Cruiserweight Champion was released from the company earlier this year, and it's safe to say that he wasn't pleased with the nature surrounding his release or the reason why WWE wouldn't hire him back anytime soon. Enzo Amore was never a main event talent, however he was a decent mid-carder who was over with the fans. His catchphrases worked for him, and while he was obnoxious and arrogant, he also had a certain aura about him that made him a fan favorite while working as a babyface. While it's true that WWE turned to him when they needed a new face in the Cruiserweight division, the company wouldn't want you to remember a few things about the star. My name is John, and in this video we take a look at 10 things the organization would want you to forget about Enzo Amore. It's no secret that Enzo has the gift of gab, and the star that has never shied away from sticking it to the management. However, Enzo took things to a whole nother level last year when it was revealed that his signature on his driver's license was phallic shaped. Enzo uploaded the image of his driver's license on his Instagram and revealed that he had a few run-ins with the DMV in Delaware. He also revealed that the department requested him multiple times to change his signature, but Amore refused to do so, saying that he knew his rights. WWE has some of the best lawyers on their payroll, and for a good reason. Lawsuits aren't anything new for Vince McMahon, and while Vince has previously butted heads with the government of the United States and came out pumping his fist in defiance, the one accusation that seems to pop up every now and again is regarding the number of brain injuries sustained by the former WWE talent, and them suing WWE for their negligence. Concussions and injuries aren't anything new for the stars, however they do shed some light on important aspects of the business that are brushed under the rug by management. As such, the WWE would want you to forget about Enzo Amore suffering a concussion during a pay-per-view in 2016. The injury looked worse at first glance, with Enzo's head hitting the bottom rope and whiplashing, causing Enzo's head to bounce off the mat. However, it wasn't as serious as everyone feared, and the star was seen back in action in a month's time. If you were a lawyer and Vince McMahon was your client, you would want that tape to be erased for good. Most of the fans did not like Enzo Amore, citing his less than stellar in-ring skills. While Amore was a hit with casual fans who sang and swayed with the former Cruiserweight champ, the more ardent fans never seemed to have embraced the braggadocious star. The WWE locker room, who weren't big fans of Enzo either, would have wanted to see the star fail on the main roster. However, when the Cruiserweight division was flailing and needing a boost, it was Enzo that injected some much-needed energy and intrigue into the product. Enzo's run as Cruiserweight champ caught everyone off guard, and him turning his opponent into his sidekicks was one of the most fascinating things to have ever happened on the show. Enzo saved 205 Live, and that would be something neither WWE superstars nor management would want the fans to remember. Before Enzo won the Cruiserweight title, or before he was even called up to the main roster, Amore wasn't that big of an act on NXT. In fact, in his debut match, he lost a one-sided affair to Mason Ryan, who was by then considered a failure in the promotion. So what really happened that led to people changing their minds about Enzo? Turns out it was John Cena that gave Enzo a stamp of approval, which was enough for management to change their tune about the star. Cena reportedly saw Enzo when he was at the Performance Center and was impressed with Enzo's innate ability to cut quality promos. John even went as far as calling Enzo the standout performer at the Performance Center, and when Enzo and Cass were brought to the main roster, they even teamed up with Big Match John on pay-per-view. Enzo Amore hasn't made many friends in WWE. In fact, his big mouth has gotten him into a lot of trouble in the past. While management weren't high on the star to begin with, once he was called up to the main roster, it did not take long for the self-proclaimed smack talker Skywalker to alienate himself from the rest of the locker room. Traditionally, the new superstars in the company have to show respect to the old-timers, but considering Enzo's penchant for showboating and his big mouth, and more often than not, landed him in hot water, and it shouldn't come as a surprise that he was one of the most disliked stars on the roster. In fact, Enzo's been kicked off of a tour bus and was also thrown out of the locker room. However, WWE wouldn't want the fans to know that such practices exist in the company today, even if it was done to put superstars in their place. Superstars don't achieve stardom overnight. It takes years of hard work, dedication, and countless hours of plying your trade to become a superstar in WWE. However, there are a selected few that get into the company without any experience, and Enzo Amore happens to be one of those people. In fact, before joining up as a pro wrestler, Enzo worked as a manager at Hooters. While most superstars would keep that information to themselves and not disclose it in public, Enzo has never been shy about his past and talked about his previous jobs before he landed his gig in WWE. Then there was that story that broke out last year about Enzo acting cheap at a strip club, and it seemed as though the fans had a blast reading about Amore's antics, but that goes against WWE's policy, with the promotion trying to portray its talent in a positive light. While Enzo doesn't see anything wrong in embracing who he is and his past, the global leader in sports entertainment would want the fans to hit the erase button as far as Enzo is concerned. During their time in NXT, Enzo and Big Cass formed an entertaining tag team. When both stars were called up to the main roster, it was obvious from the get-go that the company wanted to push Big Cass, but weren't as interested in pairing him with Enzo. However, as fate would have it, Amore won the Cruiserweight title, while Cass was sidelined due to a serious injury that put him on the shelf for months. Following Enzo's release, WWE hasn't commented about the former champion and has been pushing Cass on SmackDown Live, so much so that they pushed him off a cliff. Given the circumstances surrounding Enzo's departure, WWE wasn't going to want the fans to associate Cass with Enzo, or even Enzo with Cass. But most importantly, WWE doesn't want you to associate Big Cass and Enzo Amore with WWE. If you think teaming with Enzo is a nightmare, imagine dating him. Liv Morgan and Enzo dated for a while, with Morgan uploading their pictures on her social media accounts. However, the relationship hit a snag, and it was then revealed that Enzo had cheated on Morgan, leading to the couple going their separate ways. While Amore is no longer employed by WWE, Morgan is doing relatively well for herself, performing on Raw along with Ruby Riott and Sarah Logan. It almost feels like the further you get away from Enzo, the better you do in your professional career. Morgan is also reportedly dating Tyler Bate, and would personally want you to forget about her relationship with Enzo. It's almost been a year since we've seen Neville in WWE, and while his differences with creative led him to walking out, there might have been bigger things at play. Neville had to watch Enzo take his spot, and while the change in Neville's character added some spunk to the star, it was obvious that the company no longer trusted the star to carry the Cruiserweight division. Amore's success on 205 Live meant that Neville had to take a back seat, and with him growing disillusioned with the company, the breaking point came when Neville was notified that he would lose the Lumberjack match to Enzo, following which the superstar walked out of the company. Kalisto replaced Neville in the match and went on to defeat Enzo. Granted, Enzo was not entirely at fault for Neville quitting. WWE's insistence on pushing Enzo and thereby holding Neville back did not sit well with the man that gravity forgot, and unfortunately, so had the WWE fans. Addressing the elephant in the room, Enzo's departure from WWE wasn't because of the sexual assault allegations leveled against him, and while this happened last year, Enzo failed to inform the company about the charges, and when they finally surfaced online, Enzo was immediately suspended and then released from the company. WWE has had its fair share of sexual assault allegations in the past, and with the company trying to distance itself from negative PR, they had no other choice but to release Amore. The case is still in limbo, and Enzo's recent diss track only complicates matters. WWE would ideally want the fans to forget about Amore's sexual assault charges, as well as pretend that he never performed for the promotion. And these were 10 things WWE isn't going to want you to remember about Enzo Amore. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching Wrestling Hub, and I'll see you later with more wrestling videos.